Hey guys, so today I'm going to be sharing with you all a haul from Ulta. I am really excited about this stuff. It was some different kind of things, and I am also really excited to share it because it's not just a haul. It is sort of a haul and a first impressions. I have used pretty much everything. I would say a good 95% of the things that I purchased, so I can kind of, well, actually I think I used everything but one thing, so I can sort of like, you know, give you guys some mini reviews and first impressions as well, which I think is more helpful than just being like, bam, 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 here's what I got by. You know what I mean? So I really needed a new hairbrush, like something serious, and I was sort of looking to replace my paddle brush, and I like brushes that have like bristles, like more like boar bristle type brushes, but I've never been able to bring myself to really like splurge on a super expensive brush because I do feel like you can find quality ones that are cheaper, that are still 100% boar bristle or whatever the claims are for the outrageously priced brushes that you see. But I got this one and it was still a little on the expensive side. It was about $20 and it is the Divine Care and Style. Oh, it's by Olivia Garden. So, looks like this. And at first I thought it was going to be kind of awkward, but I really like the way it feels when you hold it. It's got plastic bristles in it as well, which I like for drying my hair if I use a brush, but then it's also got the boar bristles inside of it. So, it's good like to put your hair up or just anything really. I really like this brush. It's a very, very good one. So I'm excited about this and I do think it was worth the money. Totally sucked into the Naked Basics palette, the Naked 2 Basics. I really disliked the first Naked Basics palette. I just never liked it much. This one I am wearing today, I've worn it the last couple days, and I've got to say I do like it. It's not like knocking my socks off. It's nothing like groundbreaking or anything. But I mean, you can see it's essentially pretty similar to the first one. It's just more cool toned. I like that the darkest shade is sort of like a, not stark black, but it's still dark enough to where you can create like a really pretty, like smoky, or like darker, deeper effect without having to be so careful with a black. I really, really like the highlight shade, the very first one. And I believe that's the only color in the palette that has any bit of a sheen to it. At first I thought they were all matte when I looked at them in the store. But this one, when you put it on, that skimp shade, definitely has a bit of a, it's just a touch of a sheen to it to where it just makes it like glowy. And those are my favorite kind of, my eyebrows are messed up, my favorite kind of highlight shades. So I do like that about this. It is a lot cooler in tone than the first one. There's more like grays and stuff like that. But I do think that it's a good palette. And like I said, I'm wearing it today. I mean, I probably could have created this look with other things that I had, and I think that's why I didn't really like the first one. The first one, to me, the colors were a little like dry and hard to blend for me, and they were just a little hard to work with. Just not, I don't know. But I do like this, and I could see this as something that I would like carry with me on a trip or something when I just knew I could carry one thing and it would have everything. My eyebrow is really doing something funky over here. But it's not to the point where I want to return it or anything. I think that I just need to like sort of use it a couple more times and maybe it'll like really, really grow on me. But I do like it, and if you like cooler toned colors like that, then I would definitely try it. But the colors themselves are very easy to blend. They are a bit dusty when you touch your brush to them, which I don't mind. That's not like a deal breaker for me because a lot of my palettes that I really like do that anyways. This is the one product that I did not try yet. It is the Bare Minerals, the Top Shelf Ready Eyeshadow Duo, and I love my, what's it called, the Truth eyeshadow quad so much from them. And their eyeshadows, the pressed or the ready eyeshadows, are just so great. I'm not a big fan of like loose eyeshadows in general, but the Truth quad is more cool toned, and I really like it, but I sometimes have always thought like I wish that I had one of these that was a bit warmer toned, but I didn't really like look at the quads. I just saw this one and thought this would be really, really pretty. It has two colors, like a bronzy one that's called Cognac, and then another one that is, I'm trying to read these on the back, called Mixologist, the light color. But they're very, I would say, more on the frosted side, but I think they're going to be really nice. It's one of those that I don't think I'm going to have to think too much about. I can just put them on and create a look with them fairly easily. I just like the packaging of these. I think that they're really sleek and simple. See, it swatched a bit on my hand, but really nice. They just seem like really good colors. And the cognac shade, the darker one, is like, it's like a true pretty frosted bronze. So I'm excited about those. Before I show you the other makeup item I got, I'll show you a couple of brush type things. I have never bought a Real Techniques brush before, and it's just because I have so many brushes. You guys have seen my makeup brushes. You know I have a ton, and they've always really intrigued me. When you look at them, I always thought that they seemed like they would be like very velvety feeling. I know they're really affordable. I thought that they would be like very, very soft, and I got two different ones. I got the powder brush, which looks like this, and you can see I've been using it. And the main reason that I looked at them is because of the, it's called Miracle Complexion Sponge. And when I talked recently about my Beauty Blender obsession, and I mentioned that I had tried pretty much every single one there was, like a dupe, because a ton of brands, every brand just about has a version of the Beauty Blender, and this is what the Beauty Blender looks like. It's kind of small because mine isn't dampened, but it's just a very unique sponge. It's not just a sponge, it's just very unique. So when I mentioned that in that video, a ton of people were like, oh, you've got to try the Real Techniques one. It's it's just like the Beauty Blender. So that got me really, really interested. And of course, I purchased that, and I've used it over the last couple of days. And I will say that while it is a good sponge, it's just like all the other ones that, like the Sonia Kashuk or the, gosh, there was a yellow one that I used one time. There was a blue one. I used the MAC one. Gosh, there's been so many. There was even another pink one. They just don't have that feel. The Beauty Blender is made out of something that's very velvety, and when you dampen it, it doesn't feel like a sponge, and it doesn't dispel water on your face. This one is just kind of very, it has that spongy texture to it, and I don't know if you can hear that, but it hangs on to a lot of water. It kind of almost like dispelled the water on my face more than the, well, the Beauty Blender really doesn't. So that was my only complaint. Not a big deal. I don't think by any means they should try, or any company should try to like completely copy the Beauty Blender, because I do love it so much. I don't think that's what they should try to do, and I think I really like the shape of this one. That is one thing that I really, really like. I think that they were really smart with this shape, with the flat and then the point, so that it's a little different. But I just felt like it didn't give me as good of a coverage as the Beauty Blender. It's not that I'm saying this should be just like the Beauty Blender. I'm just saying that when something comes out like that, I always try it out because I'm thinking, well, maybe it'll be better than it, you know? But I just always compare everything to the Beauty Blender, and it's night and day, just nothing like the Beauty Blender if that's what you're expecting a dupe for. But it is only $6, so if you like makeup sponges and you like just the regular wedge sponges, or you're not really picky about them, or you've never tried a Beauty Blender, then you may really like this. And I'll continue to use this, but it's just gonna be really hard to ever grab a different sponge besides the Beauty Blender, because it's just night and day. It's so different. But for $6, if you like makeup sponges, I would give that a try. And then the brush that I got is the powder brush. It's called Your Base Flawless Powder Brush. High definition results, and has their picture on the back. I think this is really cool that they did this brush line, because it's like, I mean, everybody knows about these, but they're affordable and they're good brushes, but it's not what I was expecting. It's basically just the ends are colored lighter, which the Marc Jacobs brushes are too. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I thought they were gonna feel like this, and it just feels to me just like a typical like MAC or a Sigma brush that looks just like this, which is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Maybe not as dense as some of those. I feel like if it were dense, if there were more bristles, then it would feel like that Marc Jacobs brush or something. But again, that is probably how they can keep that price point, which is really great at $9.99. I don't think I love it enough to go purchase all the other ones or anything, because I have so many brushes and this isn't any better than any of those. But I do really like how they're flat on the bottom, and you can sit them on your counter like that. And I really I think it's kind of genius how they made the metal ferrule of the brush really long. So that's like what you grab onto rather than the wood, or like this is kind of rubbery. I think that's really cool. I really like how that is put together. So for the price, I think it is a good product, but it's not like I would go out and buy a whole lot of them because I think that they're unique. But it does feel like a quality brush. It's just not what I was expecting. I was expecting them to be like really velvety. But if you were looking for a cheap powder brush, still $10, you know, but I'd check it out. Speaking of like velvety brushes, it was so funny. I went over to like the IT Cosmetics section, and they have the biggest section of brushes that I had not seen. I hadn't been to Ulta, gosh, in a while it seemed, because I hadn't seen that. And they had this whole entire like section of brushes that were just by IT Cosmetics, and they had one section, it was called like the Velvet or something. It was a line of brushes that were velvety, and they had a bunch of them, and they were solid black, like the handle, the brush itself was just black, and they felt like a dream. Unlike any brush I had ever felt before in my life. They felt so soft. And I had that Real Techniques brush, and I thought I'm still gonna, you know, I really wanna try this, you know, because I was so curious, especially I'd gotten a sponge, and I was this close to getting their powder brush. And it was $50, and I was like, I think it was even like $58 or something, and I was like, no, Tiffany, like that is ridiculous. Like, I'm not doing that. And granted, I know I spent a ton on that Marc Jacobs bronze brush, but this thing is cool. Justified. But I really like that with my Chanel bronzer, like I've said a million times, but nothing else works that way with the Chanel bronzer. But anyways, if you had an exorbitant amount of money to blow on brushes and you just had no like limit, and you were just like, I'm spending whatever to get good brushes, those velvety brushes were amazing. And I know eventually I will probably splurge on one or two, but oh my gosh. So far though, nothing beats my Sigma F25 powder brush, which is the pointy, like egg-shaped one, which it's in my bathroom because I'm cleaning it right now. But super soft. And that is one thing too. When I used this in my powder, it made my powder like, it almost like, not chiseled, but you know, like when you use something that's a little, I don't know, in your powder, it like makes the powder go everywhere. That kind of did that. And if I use the same one by Sigma or the same one by MAC or anything like that, they kind of do that too. But I guess I'm just used to that F25. It's just like so feathery soft. So I could not justify it, and I was pretty proud of myself. One more makeup item. I got the Tarte, let me find the box, Smooth Operator Amazonian Clay Pressed Finishing Powder. And I do like their Amazonian Clay products. It's a very thin, compact, really pretty. And when I swatched this in the store, when I felt of it, I immediately fell in love with it. It is like cream. Like, I don't know how to describe it. When you put it on your finger, or when you swatch it, it looks just like the NARS pressed setting powder, the translucent crystal that I really like. But when you put it on, it feels almost like that slip of a primer where it like smooths the look of your skin. And I've used it a couple times and I really like it. Something especially cool that I like it for though is on my under eye area. I ran out of my Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder, and I use my F35 as I have since they basically came out and I first even showed them on my under eye area with a product like that. And so I thought this would be perfect. It sort of like blurs your lines and doesn't settle. And I thought, how perfect would that be just to sort of lightly sweep, not to cake on, because I don't like to use, I always say I don't like to use powder there, but all the products that I do use there, when I talk about setting them, are powders, but have to use the right kind. And this is really neat. I find that at the end of the day, like it doesn't settle, it doesn't look weird. It just really makes that whole area look like really smooth. And it works nice to set the rest of your foundation with too, to set your makeup with. So it's pretty cool and very unique. I've never felt anything that feels like that. So I believe that's it. That was a lot of stuff. I do have some drugstore things. There's one more thing that I need to pick up at the drugstore. I might do a little drugstore haul soon if you guys would like to see something like that. I feel like I've like ran out of everything recently. Not so much makeup stuff, but like beauty stuff and shampoo, and I feel like everything just ran out at the same time. Which brings up the fact that I have a ton of empties to share too because of that, so that will come soon. But I hope that y'all enjoyed the video. Maybe you saw something that you're interested in that you may not have known about before. I hope that you guys have had a great week and that you'll have an even better weekend. And I will see you back here next week. So I'll see you then, guys. Bye.